The internet is amazing. It's created the opportunity for people all over the world to share their incredible talents, or lack thereof. But for every honest content creator, there seem to be 5 others determined to lie, cheat, and scheme their way to the top. From phony construction projects to fake personal drama, the internet is home to it all. So I hope you're wearing your cringe goggles, because here are some fake videos embarrassingly exposed. Faking a break-in. The phenomena of the fake YouTube family has become more and more common over the years. And if you don't know what I mean, there's a sect of YouTubers whose whole brand is showing off their wealth and concocting fake dramatic events for clicks. Most of the time they portray themselves as perfect, unless they need a few more clicks. Then they get into some manufactured drama and become poor, hard-done-by babies. Well, the Ace family is this stereotype at its very worst. Comprised of Austin McBroom, his wife Catherine, and their 3 children, their YouTube channel has over 18 million subscribers, and counting. They've been at the center of countless crazy controversies, but back in 2018 they caused arguably the most infuriating when they uploaded a video titled, "Someone Broke Into Our House." Viewers first got suspicious when Austin pointed out that the so-called invaders hadn't stolen any of the extremely valuable electronics scattered around the family's home. But the video only gets weirder when one of the policemen who arrived on the scene acts like this.
My guy right here, he's helping us out. He's part of the Ace family.
Not exactly professional. Well, it turns out this man isn't an officer at all. Somebody recognized him as an actor who can be hired as a fake cop. A viewer contacted the company representing the fake officer and, by posing as the McBroom's financial advisor, managed to get a copy of the receipt, made out to none other than Austin McBroom. Yikes. Of course, the McBrooms refute this and deny the event was staged, but if I was broken into, I wouldn't worry about posing for a banger YouTube thumbnail, would you? And this wouldn't be the last time they'd get into trouble. Since then, the family's been the target of multiple lawsuits totaling millions of dollars. Jeez. Unfortunately, despite claiming that they'd quit YouTube at the end of 2022, the family are still uploading videos in 2023. Sounds like it's time for another lawsuit to me. Sketchy sign-off. All gamers know that eventually, even the best games get old. So you stop playing them and move on, right? Well, if your name's Sketchek, apparently not. Sketchek joined YouTube back in 2011 and quickly became known for posting impressive montages of him playing the online shooter Team Fortress 2. Hundreds of thousands of people flocked to see his skills, and by 2015 he'd accumulated a healthy fan base of subscribers. Everything was going swimmingly, until one day he suddenly released a video titled Closure, where he announced he had a terminal illness and wouldn't be able to upload anymore. With that, he said goodbye to a devastated audience of fans and stopped uploading. Despite his absence, Sketchek's legacy lived on, with countless tributes pouring in for the fallen gamer. Team Fortress 2's developer Valve even immortalized him in-game with an item effect called Sketchek's Bequest. And that was that. Sketchek was gone. Or was he? 3 years later, Reddit user Alpha Owl made a detailed post on the Team Fortress 2 subreddit with some startling revelations. For one, the Closure video had been privatized, so someone must have logged into Sketchek's channel to do so. The post went on to say that people had found his public profile on the gaming platform Steam and added him as a friend. Shockingly, the invitations were accepted. Now it gets really weird. Anyone who'd been accepted as Sketchek's friend was sent this ominous GIF. Turns out the GIF contained cryptic binary on it that, when translated, led people down a wacky internet rabbit hole of obtuse images and private videos. Eventually, those following the trail came to a video that wasn't private. Though it's since been taken down, it featured none other than Sketchek himself promising new content after the 3-year break. People were overjoyed he was alive, but they also had some big questions. Like, what the heck happened to him? Well, later on, Sketchek provided the answers, and they were shocking. The gamer wasn't just alive, he'd never been ill at all. Sometime in 2015, he decided he was gaming too much for his own good. So rather than announce his retirement like a normal human being, he faked his own death. Right. Apparently he went out in such a dramatic way so it'd be really hard for him to return. Only it didn't work. He ended up missing Team Fortress so much that he devised a grand scheme to announce his resurrection. But the guilt of lying to so many people proved too much and he ended up admitting to the whole sordid affair. Understandably, people were pretty appalled. So much so that Valve removed his name from the in-game item effect. Ouch. The YouTuber admitted what he did was wrong and apologized for his actions, though his grand return to YouTube didn't turn out so grand after all. As of this video's release, his last upload was about a year ago. Well, at least he was honest in the end, which is more than I can say about who we've got next. But now seems like as good a time as any to remind you that honesty is my middle name. If you don't want to miss out on any more incredible true stories like this one, then be sure to smack the like and subscribe buttons below. All done? Great. Let's wade back into the marshes of fraud. TikTok foe. If TikTok has taught us one thing as a species, it's that humans will do pretty much anything for attention. One user named Ticks and Roses took this to a whole new level of extreme. They rose to internet fame back in 2020 for raising awareness of Tourette syndrome. Ticks and Roses, aka Emerald, regularly vlogged their daily life and the extreme verbal and physical outburst, or tics, they were subject to. They also ran an online yarn dyeing business, which they promoted on their Ticks and Roses account as well as a separate dedicated account.
Hi, this is Emerald with Stardust Fiber Studio. I am one of the owners. I also do awareness videos for Tourette's on TikTok.
Now here's the rub. When some of these separate videos became more well known, viewers noticed that Emerald was on camera for minutes at a time without a single tic. The public had seen just how frequent and explosive their tics were on their main account, so what the heck was going on? Emerald dismissed concerns by saying it was possible for them to go short periods without any symptoms, which satisfied people, until a 54-minute live stream of Emerald emerged promoting their yarn company, in which they didn't tic once. The pressure was on. In an effort to prove their story, Emerald posted a video sharing what they claimed was their most recent doctor's note. A good strategy, if it didn't look so fake. Yep, commenters pointed out that PTSD was listed twice in Emerald's medical history. Doctors don't use the word kid, and most damningly of all, the hospital logo on the note was wrong. In response, Emerald deleted the video and their entire Instagram. This really annoyed people. Real Tourette sufferers started reacting to their videos, pointing out anything they thought was fake, and a subreddit was even set up to gather evidence against Emerald. Then something happened that blew the whole thing wide open. Emerald's sister posted on the subreddit confirming Emerald didn't have Tourette's. Apparently, the TikToker had cut all ties with their family years before, despite them only wanting the best for them. But their sister confirmed they had a history of twisting the truth. After this revelation, Emerald posted one last video announcing they were done with raising awareness for Tourette's. They didn't tic once the whole duration. Then they deactivated their Ticks and Roses account. Although they posted a few more times on their business account, they stopped in June 2021 and haven't been seen since. Phew, what a strange, sad tale. Surprisingly, faking disorders is an increasingly common occurrence on the internet, despite how disrespectful it is. Do you think we've seen the last of Ticks and Roses? I'm not so sure. Let me know down in the comments. Chocolate bar. If you like candy, London's Leicester Square is home to the biggest candy store on Earth at a whopping 35,000 square feet. Jeez. The colossal store is called M&M's World, and it's so fantastically chocolatey that'd make Willy Wonka himself proud. According to TikTok user Stuart Laws, however, candy isn't the only thing the place sells.
We are looking for the secret cocktail bar. We're looking for a lift or something like that. At the moment it feels like we're going to have to go down to get up.
Yes, in December 2021, Law shared a video of him searching for a supposed secret cocktail bar inside the store. I mean, the place is massive, so there could be one, right?
Like a secret library thing opening up. That's smart because it says closed.
Believe it or not, that didn't work. Yet lo and behold, just seconds later, so let's get this out of the way. No, there is no secret M&M's World Cocktail Bar. These two are stood in what looks like a restroom holding drinks they brought in with them for that sweet TikTok clout. That's all. The drinks don't even look that good. How do I know this? Well, one of the store's employees debunked it in Law's comment section. Boom. Granted, there are also commenters jokingly talking about entering the bar themselves, but there's absolutely zero evidence this place actually exists. Laws is a producer, director, and comedian, so he posted the video knowing that any publicity is good publicity. He'd even tweeted the idea a couple of months beforehand. So forget cocktails, but old Law definitely left with his tail between his legs. Fishy fisherman. Now, I'm no fisherman, but even I know that to catch a fish, you need the right bait. Something like a worm or insect larva, right? You might not expect to find eggs, cola, and Mentos in a tackle box. Yet back in 2019, a bizarre fishing video uploaded by the YouTube account Technique Tools went viral, and it appeared to use those exact things as bait. The fisherman pours the odd ingredients into this suspicious hole, and within seconds, catfish suddenly come flying out of it. What? The internet was sent into a frenzy, and before long, copycat videos were popping up all over the place, supposedly showing similar techniques. But how the heck did it work? Well, the most prominent theory suggested that the hole led to a larger body of water and that the egg attracted hungry catfish which swam over from it. Then the violent reaction between the cola and Mentos created a huge amount of carbon dioxide. This started to suffocate the fish, making them leap out of the water and into the clever fisherman's hands. I've got to admit, it does sound kind of plausible, in a wacky way. As strange as it sounds, catfish really do like bird eggs. They're a brilliant source of protein. However, cracking one into a hole in the ground isn't going to get you the catch of the day. And pouring cola in as well is just a waste of good soda. Yep, the reality is the videos are all big fat frauds. Before filming, the creators would dig a hole in the ground and create a short tunnel, leading to a second hole out of camera shot. After one guy filmed themselves pouring the mix of foodstuffs into the first hole, a second person would push fish down the other hole, forcing them to swim through the tunnel and pop out the other end. Technique Tools actually admitted this is what they'd done in some of their video descriptions before they deleted them. So at best, the videos are fake fishing techniques, and at worst, animal cruelty. Suffocating fish for views really isn't cool. Luckily, the fad seems to have been left very much in the past. So whatever you do, don't be a copycat fish and try it yourself, okay? Pranks for nothing. Sure, some prank channels aren't too bad, but most of them are so chaotically cringe-inducing, they make me want to throw up. Enter Vitaly ZDTV. Active since 2011, Vitaly made a name for himself with various tasteless prank videos. He'd do everything from pretend to fart on people to antagonize and harass strangers' girlfriends at the beach. How he didn't get beaten up, I'll never know. Either way, the videos gained him a loyal following and a staggering number of views. As time went on, however, his audience began to notice a shift in the feel of his content. Then, during a confusing YouTube beef with fellow prankster FouseyTube, it came to light that Vitaly was faking his pranks. Though he'd started out filming real reactions, at some point along the way he'd begun hiring actors to pose as members of the public. After the truth was out, Vitaly's reputation quickly deteriorated, and with it his following. Once seen as a controversial but genuine prankster, he was increasingly viewed as nothing but a mean-spirited, money-grubbing faker. And things would go from bad to worse. After several run-ins with the law, one culminating in a 5-day stint in an Egyptian prison for climbing the pyramids, Vitaly hit rock bottom. In April 2020, the YouTuber had a violent, unprovoked altercation with an innocent woman in Miami Beach and was arrested on home turf. As a result, he had to pay out $30,000 to the victim, but unfortunately swerved a prison sentence. Fake prankster is one thing, but violent criminal? There's no coming back from that one. Even so, he's still posting to YouTube and now even makes videos for, a more adult site. Yeah, no thanks. I see enough terrible acting on Netflix. Primitive power tools. I tried putting up my new IKEA shelving last week and ended up getting frustrated, eating a tub of vanilla ice cream and calling my dad to get him to do it instead. But some people are far better at constructing things than I am, like Australian John Plant, who started the YouTube channel Primitive Technology back in 2015. Plant builds a huge variety of things from shelters all the way to trebuchets, and uses nothing but the resources he can find outside to do so. It's super impressive, and he's built a huge following on the platform. But with success comes imitation. Cheap imitation. The creatively named Primitive Technology Idea channel is just one of these mimics and began uploading its own construction videos a year or so after Plant. The people behind it aren't happy with just lifting Plant's channel name and concept though. They seem to want to outdo the original. So rather than shelters, their videos feature lavish over-the-top structures like miniature water parks, all supposedly made by hand. The only thing is, those hands weren't using sticks like the video makes you think. They were using power tools and operating heavy machinery. What? Yes, to put it bluntly, the videos are all lies. Look at this. See anything off? Now let's zoom here. Yep, there it is. Despite trying to portray the builds as only done by a small group of people with primitive tools, extra workmen can clearly be seen in the background of certain shots. What's more, tire tracks left by an excavator can be seen out in the open on some videos, and the long, smooth cuts behind this guy were certainly not made by that stick. Yeesh. Who do they think they're fooling? Well, according to their 6 million strong subscriber count, a lot of people. So as embarrassing as this is for them, I'm sure all that YouTube money's helping lessen the shame. I'd build a bridge and get over it, but I can't. Cringe at 3 a.m. It answered. There's one YouTube trend so ridiculous it's made me question my faith in humanity on multiple occasions. If you've never heard of it, prepare your world to be shattered. Real grown adults are pretending to call up cartoon characters at 3 a.m. and acting terrified at the conversations that supposedly ensue. Seriously, enter J-Station, the single most infamous example of the 3 a.m. YouTuber. As cringy as this content is, it is meant for children, and it's relatively harmless, if brain rot doesn't count as a disease. J-Station's content wasn't all harmless though. The hyperactive content creator used to post videos pretending to contact departed celebrities with a Ouija board, which is weird enough in the first place. Only he did it immediately after said celebrities had passed. Jeez. Naturally, this disrespectful behavior was panned by adults familiar to the channel. Despite the host of negative criticism though, Jay went out of his way to take things even further. In 2020, he posted a video claiming his girlfriend Alexia had tragically passed away in a car accident. In the now deleted video, Jay unconvincingly sobbed as he informed his followers of the news. Later, he uploaded another video supposedly visiting the spot where she lost her life to pay his respects.
We're gonna miss you.
With his untrustworthy past in mind, some people were rightfully skeptical about the sad turn of events, but many gave him the benefit of the doubt. He couldn't fake anything as bad as that, right? Well, not long after the second video released, Jay uploaded a third, and this one would prove to be his downfall. It was another 3 a.m. challenge, but this time he claimed to contact Alexia's ghost by a Ouija board. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Following the release of this third video, a skeptical viewer rang the Toronto and Ottawa police services to inquire about Alexia, and found out that sure enough, no car accident had been reported. After this, Alexia revealed she was in fact still alive and had been coerced into faking her death by Jay as a ploy for views. Jeez. It takes a special kind of person to fake the passing of a loved one, and an even more special person to try and profit from it. Jay is that special person. Well, it didn't pay this time. Jay lost his relationship, his channel, and what meager scraps of his reputation he had left. Yeesh. Since then, he's repeatedly created new channels to try and evade YouTube's wrath. All have failed, so stay tuned for my next video where I'll be using a Ouija board to try and contact Jay's career. Fake hate. Jesse Smollett is an actor and singer known for his role on the popular TV show Empire. That said, most people know him better for his career-destroying 2019 shenanigans. In January of that year, Smollett reported to the Chicago police that he'd been assaulted. According to him, two men violently ambushed him in what appeared to be a hate crime because of Smollett's race and homosexuality. A large-scale investigation was launched, and Smollett was bombarded with love and support from many high-profile sources. In interviews, he described the incident in detail and spoke in depth on his emotions throughout the ordeal. When it came to the investigation, however, Smollett was suspiciously less forthcoming. He claimed he was making a call at the time of the incident, so police requested his phone to corroborate the story. Strangely, he refused them. Eventually, in early February, he offered up phone records, but significant parts of them were missing. Then, a few days later, police arrested two persons of interest, brothers Abimbola and Olabinjo Osundaro, who'd worked alongside Smollett on Empire. What they said under questioning blew the whole thing wide open. They admitted he'd paid them to stage the entire affair. Police corroborated the brothers' timeline of events using GPS tracking and phone records. But why would Smollett do such a thing? Well, apparently because he wasn't happy with his salary. By staging a hate crime, he'd hoped it would highlight inequality and give his career a boost, along with his pay. Jeez. Unfortunately for him, the ploy failed. He was charged with filing a false police report, arrested, and the whole world learned the attack was faked. The disgraced actor was ordered to pay over $145,000 and sentenced to 150 days in jail. Damn. But even with a wealth of evidence stacked against him, he refused to admit he was guilty.
If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this.
Even as he was escorted from the courtroom, Smollett protested his innocence and tried to paint himself as a martyr. But all of it was one big lie. Man, empires are supposed to leave legacies, but all that's left of Smollett's is shame. Plane wreck. You'd think that people who've experienced success outside of YouTube would be less likely to fake videos for attention, right? Wrong. Trevor Jacob is an extreme sports athlete with an impressive resume. He's participated in competitions for MMA, BMX, and motocross, and even represented the US in snowboarding at the Winter Olympics. That's quite the resume. Jacob also had a YouTube channel where he'd upload extreme stunts, stories from his life, and the occasional stereotypical YouTube challenge. In December of 2021, however, he uploaded a video that caught attention for all the wrong reasons. While flying his private plane and apparently trying to scatter the ashes of his departed friend, he supposedly noticed a fault with the plane's engine and was forced to parachute from the vehicle. Jacob was fine, but the plane plummeted to its doom. Pretty dramatic. The video raised eyebrows for various reasons. For starters, the plane had several cameras attached to capture different angles, but it was only supposed to be a routine flight. Secondly, pilots reacting to the video noted that the door of the plane was unlatched before the engine even cut out, almost as if Jacob was expecting to open it. On top of that, he was already wearing a parachute. Jacob claimed he always does this, but there are lots of other clips online of him flying without one. All sounds pretty damn suspicious so far, doesn't it? And there's also the fact that in the now notorious video, he made absolutely zero efforts to fix the issue with his plane, communicate for help, or find a safe emergency landing spot. All things he would have been trained to do. Instead, he rushed straight to jumping on out. Yeah, this one's cut and dry. Jacob orchestrated the whole thing for those sweet, sweet views. And he didn't do it very well either. The huge faux pas garnered widespread criticism, provoking the Federal Aviation Administration to revoke his pilot's license for reckless behavior and ban him from reapplying. Ouch. Jacob, however, showed no remorse, claiming that people simply chose to be offended. What a piece of work. He was only intending to crash the plane, so he must be pretty upset that his whole reputation went down with it. And on that note, that's about all the secondhand embarrassment I can handle for one day. Had you already seen any of the clips I showed you today? Which made you cringe the most? Let me know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.